I went to get the registration renewed today for my mom's car, and I went to get that test, and then you gotta go into the office to pay and get the paperwork. And while I was there was an older gentleman talking to the woman behind the counter, and they knew each other, and he went out to smoke, and he invited her to smoke with him. And she said, "Oh, well, I can't right now. I'm with a customer." And he said something, oh, that's unfortunate, or something like that. And I told her, well, actually, no, that's a good thing you can't go to smoke, because smoking is going to kill you. And she goes, oh, no, I love smoking. It's such a great thing. I want to smoke. I wish I could go right now and smoke with him. I said, well, what can I say to that? I told her, well, that's your choice. That's your right. You have the right to choose. Said, you want to kill yourself? Go ahead. And then I saw on the counter to the right, there was this placard, kind of like a license plate you see in the image on the video, with the number 613. Now, that caught my attention immediately, because that number, obviously, in Israel, people that know Torah, everybody knows 613 commandments. That's the big number that they love to quote as far as how many commandments were given by God to the Israeli people. But of course, that wasn't the reason the number was there. The number was there because that is the number of days the hostages are in Gaza. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, how interesting. Because, I'm not keeping track every day. I know, approximately, but I was thinking, wow, isn't that something? I come here and they have the number, and the number is exactly the same as the number of commandments in the Torah. Now, obviously, that woman behind the counter was godless. She had tattoos all over herself, and she couldn't wait to go and smoke a cigarette. And I said, well, that's your choice. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to preach to you. Why would I waste my words? I gave her one word. She rejected it. Why give her another? And there was another guy with a kippah on his head. And he was in a very bad spirit, just sad and down and depressed. And he was talking to another guy when then he stepped outside the building, and he was just kind of going outside, and he was mumbling, "Oh, why, God, why?" And I said, what is going on with you? He said, well, he has a condition, his prostate, he can't pee. He hasn't been able to pee. And we got into a conversation, and I prayed for him, for his healing. And he asked me, does that mean I'm going to be healed? I said, well, I don't know. I don't know about that, but here's what I do know. I do know that if you do what God says, if you are a good servant of the Lord, you'll be fine. So the earth, the body, the flesh is going the way of all the earth, as David said. You're going to decay, but your spirit, your soul. And then I got into discussion about that number. I said, you saw that number over there, didn't you? 613, you know what that is. I told him, why do you think we suffer here in Israel? They're all talking about the hostages all the time. I said, why do you think that is? Do you not know that God is just and righteous? We suffer because of our own choices, like that woman. She wants to smoke cigarettes, and you're not going to stop her. That's her choice, and she's determined. And the Lord allows it. Too many people complain about contradicting. They have two contradicting arguments against God, like we talked about earlier, the hatred of God. So you complain when God punishes somebody, and then you complain when he doesn't punish somebody. Why is there evil in the world? Well, because God gives grace to give you time to repent. Why does God destroy them? Well, because their time of grace has ended. You can't complain when God punishes and then complain when God does not punish. And if he punishes somebody else, well, shouldn't he also punish you? You love complaining about evil in the world, Hammas and all these people, but what are you doing? 613 commandments, how many of them do you disobey? And I told him, what do you think October 7 was? I love educating people in Israel because they have no clue. They're so ignorant. It doesn't matter how many kippahs they have on their head and how many tefillins they put up every morning and tzitzit. And he had all of these things. He didn't even know. I asked him, In America, they write the Gregorian date, the pagan date, the sun calendar, the Roman calendar. October 7, you write 10-7 because the month comes first in the US. In Israel, we write it the opposite, the day, month, year. He said, well, so it's 10-7. I asked him, and what is the 10th day of the 7th month in the Hebrew calendar? He didn't know. I said, why don't you know? The 7th month is Tishrei, the 10th month is Yom Kippur. And I said, what happened exactly 50 years before this October 7 events? That was the Yom Kippur War. And what is 50 years in the Torah? It's a Yovel, Jubilee. And what is a Jubilee? It's a cycle. And I said, it was judgment by God. He is just and right. He promised. And He fulfills His word. The blessings and the curses. I said, the sickness that you have. I don't know why, but we suffer here on earth. We suffer because we're not obedient. I asked him, what is the greatest commandment? He told me, honor your father and your mother. I said, no. That is important, but it's not the first one. See, people here know nothing. There's no knowledge of God in the land. Doesn't matter your religion. There's no knowledge of God. There's no knowledge of Torah. And he was way older than me. He was probably in his late 40s. I don't know. It was very sad to see. Told him, love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your mind, all your being. That means everything. If you just do what He says. I told him, what is a good soldier? One who obeys his orders. You be a good servant. Do what your father tells you and you'll be fine. I don't know what's going to happen to your body, but I know you're going to be fine. And then I offered prayer and he gladly received, and I prayed for him. And I felt so sorry for him. I didn't feel sorry at all for that nasty woman behind the counter. Miss, I wanna smoke and I love it. We all know who she is. But this guy suffering, humble, he hasn't been able to pee. He's suffering because of his prostate. It said it's blocking his, the tunnels, the urine. It's horrible condition, horrible. And I gave him some advice, but what do I know? I'm only human. I told him that I can give you some advice, but I don't know. I can pray for you. That's what I do. I'm a man of God. I prayed for him. Do what you can. You can't do what you cannot do. You're not supposed to do what you cannot do, but you are supposed to do what you can. And wherever you are, be a witness. And of course, they heard me talk about God with him outside the building, and wherever I go, I'm always a witness. Always a witness. Because people need to see God in action. They need to see that someone is faithful. They want to. People want to be righteous, but they need to see it. I say people, not everybody, obviously. Some people. We need to see it manifested so that we believe. It's like, wow, this is real. I wanted to believe, now I see. Wow, the power of God. The holiness, the righteousness, the conviction, the true faith. We are called to be that wherever we go. It's not a religious thing. It doesn't matter which building you go to. Wherever you are. The grocery store, the DMV, the whatever. Real time, real life ministry. And you have the choice. You don't have to do it, You could be a lazy and wicked servant. Don't forget about that part. The Lord does give you a choice, and you have to choose if you want to be a good and faithful servant, to actually be a good and faithful servant. It's a choice. You can also choose to go and smoke cigarettes like that woman and end up with cancer. The Lord does give you a choice, and He gives that choice to everyone else. So don't complain about evil in the world. They made their choice. So did you. How many sins did you do? The Lord hasn't killed you yet. You're still alive listening to this message. So don't they deserve the same amount of grace that you do? Eventually, we know that God will judge justly and righteously, and each man will get according to his deeds, but that day hasn't come yet, which means you can still add to your convictions, or you can add to your record for righteousness. It's your choice what to do every day. Do more good or do more bad. It's your choice. So choose well. Choose life. Choose to be a good and faithful servant.